c'è poco.
I want to thank this organization, my colleague Pamela Falk, that of CBS is running in a wonderful way, and I think I thank all my colleagues that are here today, because I think this is the right place to present this book. It's going to be presented in other places, at NYU and in another part of the country, but I believe that this is the important presentation, because this marks not only the 5th anniversary of President Kennedy assassination. President Kennedy came here, in his 3 years as a president, he came here twice. He didn't deliver the speech every year. He came the first, just when he became president, but then he came back. And in September 1963, a few months before he died, he delivered a speech in this building. And if you take the time, if you read the speech, you can see how, what if? You can really say this word. This phrase, what if President Kennedy didn't die in Dallas on November 22nd? Because in that speech at the United Nations, the famous speech that everybody quote, somebody say that maybe because his life was the American University speech. But I believe that also the United Nations General Assembly speech in 1963, he showed the world that he wanted to change the world, the way the world was going. I believe after the Cuban Missiles crisis, President Kennedy was a different, president, he was a different man, a different human being. Probably because I teach a course on the mafia. As soon as you look at the homicide, you see the way Kennedy died, you recognize that this was a mafia hit. Careful. When I'm talking about mafia, I'm not talking about gangsters, mobsters, John Gotti, Al Capone. We're not talking about this kind of mafia. That's not mafia for me. The mafia is what Carlos Marcello, alias his real name was Calogero Minacori. What really mafia is, the mafia is not against the establishment. The mafia is not against politics, against who is in power. The mafia, you are in presence of mafia only when there is a relationship with power. For a major assassination, usually an investigator needs 3 ingredients, if you want, right? That is, you need a motive, you need the means, and you need the opportunity. So an investigator who goes to a murder scenes will look for it. For a mafia hit at that level is not enough. You need 2 more. Number 4, blackmailing. Means that the mafia will act only if it can blackmail the power that will have to bring justice to this homicide. So, or in this case, any potential avengers, in this case, the state, the government, the mafia has to be in a position that can blackmail them, so they will not act. And then number 3, without this number 5, the mafia will not act. The target has to be isolated. The target, the establishment, so-called, it doesn't like that presence anymore. Careful. What you've been thinking so far, when you think that Oswald didn't act alone, or right away you start to think to a big conspiracy, you, like let's say in Oliver Stone movie, that brings the story in New Orleans without including Carlos Marcello, I think it's crazy. You think right away to a big means that whoever did it is also responsible for the cover-up and so on. It's not the case. In this story, in my book, I don't think that who did the cover-up killed the president. Who did the cover-up had to do the cover-up, because not doing the cover-up would have been worse than finding the truth. That's why after, I believe, I mean, I think after 50 years, this should be, you know, clear. I mean, it's not, I'm sorry for my colleagues around, I saw good work out there, the CNN and other channels do great documentaries, but I think they were just going again through the step of what's called the Warren Commission, giving a lot of space on that thesis without, for example, taking in consideration that my thesis, what you have in this book, it's not like Stefano Vaccara, oh, like, what a brave guy, all by himself find out that the mafia killed Carlos Marcello. It's not me. This was said officially by the Congress of the United States, a commission. Took 3 years, a lot of $1 million spent. In 1979, Congress, it was this high committee on assassination, find out who killed the president. Congress, in documents, several thousand of pages, but you can read it online. Congress thinks that this man, Carlos Marcello, is responsible. Doesn't have the proof. They can't say we can't prove it in court. But we think that he is the major suspect in killing, and now I tell you why he killed the president. He killed the president to stop the brother, Robert Kennedy. In this picture, there you have the encounter, the fatal encounter, if you want, for the Kennedys, happened in 1959 when both the brothers were part of a commission, anti-Racket commission. They were trying to investigate in Congress. They were trying to investigate the relationship between the mafia and trade unions. Robert Kennedy, while John Kennedy was already a senator, Robert Kennedy was a counsel of the committee, and he was actually responsible for the investigation, to do the calls, to make the people come in front of the committee. And he did the call to have Carlos Marcello in front of the committee, and he did it because already Carlos Marcello had been called by the Kefauver Commission 8 years before, the first commission for Congress. And Robert Kennedy understood that who he had in front, he was the most, I would say, powerful mafia boss that this country had.